Configuring software environments can be a lengthy process, and a lot of times it's one of the activities which takes the most time in the software development process, because you not only need like to get the PC right in case you are just joining the company. You will need to get like the laptop you will be working with, plus installing the software, all the software you need, right? Then getting the solutions, and sometimes that's even not enough. Like, for example, when you are working with with applications or systems which involve extremely big chunks of data, your local connections tend to be really slow to handle that. So in those situations, we are forced to work uh, connecting to virtual machines, right? To virtual machines probably on our client and our client side, right? Which is generally this side which has um, the closest connection to the database services and whatever we are consuming, which has a lot of data. Um, but sometimes our clients just don't have the resources or the physical space to give us um, those virtual machines in their servers. Thanks to Azure, we can create development environments on the cloud, right? So we can just put our database servers, a copy of our data, let's say, right, or database or web services, copy of our environment on the cloud, and then we can create our virtual machines on the cloud in that same network. So everything is on the same network, and we can have really fast access to all the resources. We could also use a VPN, but using a VPN, right, we will still be using our own connection to get the data. While in the situations of using cloud, for example, like a virtual machine, a virtual environment, right, and a virtual machine where we are developing all in the same network housed in the cloud, we are just using our local network to connect to a remote machine, and that remote machine will be the one who is connecting to the local resources for that network in the cloud. Um, to create our development environment, we will start with Visual Studio. So to create Visual Studio remote virtual machine, we will create new. We will go to our marketplace, right? Let's say all. Let's just do a search, right? Let's search for Visual Studio. We will see that we have a lot of many different options, right? I'm looking for Visual Studio 2015. And let's say we have like Visual Studio Enterprise 2005 update 2, right? With Windows Server R2. We have the one with Windows 10 Enterprise, and um, I want Visual Studio Enterprise 2015 update 2 with Azure and Windows Server 2002. Let's say I want that one. So I just choose it, select it. I select my model. I want Azure Resource Model so I can organize uh, my virtual machine into resources. So it will now request us for our configuration, right? So first thing is the virtual machine name. So I will put it like VM for the prefix virtual machine. Deb 15, and that's the only thing I want so far. I will get my username as demo user, and I will input the password. And now I want to use a resource group. So let's see, there is something that will work for me. The default ones, I don't want to use them. No, I don't have already created resource group for this. So I will just select new and I will name it RG DevEmp, right, as development environment. And now we'll choose to create it on South Central US. So now it will request me for my virtual machine size, right? So if I want like D2, A2, or the S2, I will choose the A2 virtual machine, right? Which is going to be like almost $90 per month, right? Um, and on usage, right? So I can just turn the virtual machine. I will not necessarily pay um, all of that money. I will basically only pay what I need. What I use, I'm sorry. Okay, so now it will request us for the storage account where we want to create our virtual machine. I don't like to use the default names, so I will create a new storage account and I will prefix it with STG, sorry, STG, the amp, right? So it already refined the name. It's okay, I can use it because there is no one else using it. Now it will request me for my virtual network name, the configuration, right? So we can go and create our virtual machine. It will show us a summary of what we selected, so we can confirm I am okay with everything. We click OK, and the virtual machine is going to start being deployed, right? So we see that the virtual machine is being created, and after a while, we will be able to connect to it. We go to virtual machines. The virtual machine will soon show up here, and we will be able to see the status and the status changes it has. Once our virtual machine is created, or and it's running, we will be able to connect to it through remote desktop and start working. So we see that the virtual machine is in the created status, right? So there are a couple of status it still has um, to take. So when our virtual machine is created, we can select it. And we can get our remote desktop um, profile. Um, so our virtual machine is still in an updating status. When that finishes, we should be able to connect to it. So we will download our remote desktop connection. And if we try to connect at this moment, it will probably show us an error because it's still updated. Okay, since we are already able to connect to it. Once everything is ready, we should be able to see our, um, our desktop, and we will be able to open Visual Studio and start developing there. So we can go and search for install software. We see that we have Visual Studio, right? I'll pan it to the taskbar and to the desktop, right? Now, um, I can open Visual Studio here. So it will request me some configurations for the first time uh, setup. It will request me if I want to use my credentials to log in um, to my Visual Studio connected services. It will also request me the mode I want. So let's wait a second. So now Visual Studio is requesting me to requesting me to log in into my developer services. I will just tell it not for now. So now which is going to be my theme and my development settings, right? So C#, and we start Visual Studio. So we will apply the configuration, and the Visual Studio will load, and we will be able to start developing in our virtual machine. So now that we have our Visual Studio configured, we can go and create a test application, right? So we can just create a website from the templates. So we wait for Visual Studio to load the templates, and then we can select from the templates that we already have there. So let's say we want to create a web application, use the ASP.NET application, right? We can tell it, I don't know, test website. We create the application. Now we choose if we want to create an ASP.NET 4.52, right? Web forms, MVC, web API, or let's say an ASP.NET 5 web application. Let's create that one. I don't want to house it in the cloud. Now the other list. So click OK. The project is already being created. So we already have our project created. It's now creating the application insights. I think I missed um, checking that checkbox. So it's creating the application insights inside our application. Okay, now we wait for NuGet to um, I'll wait for Visual Studio to restore their NuGet packages, right? Okay, so it is downloading our, our packages for this specific project since I chose an ASP.NET Core um, application. So it probably needs to download a lot of packages that haven't been downloaded before. Okay, our package restored. It's completed, so it installed 235 packages. So that's why it kind of took a while. Uh, Now we can rebuild our application, and in a couple of minutes we will be able to run it. Okay, so rebuild all succeeded. Now let's run it with AS Express, and everything should be working already. Now, one of the good things about Azure is that um, we can configure our virtual machines to be more powerful, right? So if something is really slow, we can increase our virtual machines configuration such as the size, let's say. We can also choose, like when we create our virtual machines, we can choose to create virtual machines with um, solid state drive, so it will be much faster. So let's see why we were not able to run our website. You tell it to use AS Express. Okay, so there is our website with Visual Studio running in an Azure virtual machine.